Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. It is Wednesday, September 27th. Frank Granito alongside Kevin Coleman getting ready for our first boys soccer coverage of the fall season on the HAN Network. And it's just been way too long, Kevin, for sure. We've had some unfortunate issues with scheduling, so we had to be pushed back. But tonight we'll see the Senators and the Danbury Hatters, so we can officially now start off Kick It with Kevin Wednesday. There's going to be a lot of soccer today. It is about time. I've been waiting. I know we've had a little taste of some girls soccer, and I'm disappointed. Of course, yesterday we were supposed to have girls soccer here on the HAN Network due to some technical difficulties. That wasn't able to happen, but we'll get girls soccer once we really get rolling into the month of October. But Frank, you mentioned tonight's game. What better way to start off the show than talk about a little Brian McMahon soccer? We're going to bring in now the head coach of the Senators boys soccer program, Rodrigo Guzman. Coach, thank you for taking time to spend some time with us today. I know you have to get ready with your team. Big game tonight, 6:30 against the Danbury Hatters. How are you? And you're coming off a couple of tough matches, but overall, how's the season going so far for you and your team?
Well, first of all, good afternoon. So far, the players are working hard, which is one of the things that I told them once we got into the preseason. They need to come into practice, pay attention to detail. We knew we were going to have one of the toughest schedules coming out of the gate. So all we're trying to do right now is get points from teams that we did not get points of last year, which is, I'll give you a couple examples. We got a point from Lolo. Last year we lost to. And we got a point from Darien, and last year we lost to them. Tonight's match is going to be a tough match. We're playing one of the top teams in the FCAC, a team that went to the state finals. Unfortunately, they didn't get there, by technicality, but it's a tough schedule. But the guys are hanging in there. They're working hard.
And you mentioned that tough schedule. You're coming off a tough loss against Richfield Tigers, and you tie Darien, you tie Fairfield Ludlow, like you mentioned, two key games that you're getting 2 big points out of. Going into tonight's game against Danbury, then you have a quick turnaround. Next week you're playing Staples, 2 tough games in a row. How do you get your team prepared for 2 tough games like this?
Oh, the biggest thing is, getting them prepared after Richfield, just to forget about Richfield. It's one of those games that you put in the calendar, you say, well, we're going to have an off day. Luckily for us, it was going to be on Monday. We move on. We're blessed enough that we're getting the coverage tonight, so we thank you so much for that. And what we have to do tonight is just come out and play our style of game. Get the ball moving. Quick resets. Take a lot of shots, and then let the chips fall where they fall. If they work hard, we should have a good game for us. And then the quick turnaround for next week. Again, Westport's a very physical team. Nobody in the FCA is going to give you anything. You have to go out there and earn it, and that's the way it should be. We don't want to be give and get. We want to earn every point. We want to earn every win.
Coach, we just had a good look at your captains there on the screen, Peter, Daniel, and Joshua. How big of a role have those boys played in this early season, and what can you say about the work they've done as the leaders of this roster so far?
Well, so far the captains have done what I asked them to do. Biggest thing besides playing on the field is leading the team. Making them believe that right now we're all 4-2. The record speaks for itself. And they just have to keep the players believing that we still have another 10 games left. We still have a schedule that, hopefully will turn into not our favor, but a schedule that we can definitely go out there and compete and get some points. Like I told them yesterday at practice, I still believe this team's going to make the FCAC. I still believe this team's going to make the States. We just got to stay there. We got to believe in the process. There's a process. And there's a process for a reason. We can't look ahead. We just got to look at every single game that we play. Right now, the only thing we can control is tonight's game at 6:30 at McMahon. And that's the number one priority right now is, going out there and competing with a top team in the FCAC.
Well, you talk about that schedule, that you've gotten points that you didn't last year at the start of this season. But really now, as you head towards the back end, moving past Danbury and Staples, who are at the top of the conference, there are a lot of winnable games on the schedule down the stretch. Do you believe this is still a team that should be able to compete in the postseason, whether it's FCAC, States, or both?
We can compete anywhere. I give them an example. When I came here in McMahon, I'm an alumni from Brian McMahon. I came here in '82 and graduated in '85. My last year's season, we were the 14th seed in the state. We ended up beating the 4th seed. We ended up beating the 2nd seed. We ended up beating not beating, but we ended up taking the #1 seed all the way to double overtime. So once you get into postseason, everybody's 0-0. You know, you just got to buckle up. You got to practice hard. You got to pay attention to detail. But our #1 priority right now is just getting that, great game against a big team. I keep telling the kids, big game against a great team. You cannot just sit there and say, look at the schedule, this one. No, there's no this one, which is Danbury. So if we take it one game at a time, one half at a time, try to, just get to play our style of game, which is moving the ball, getting it to the width, and then getting it, into the middle, then we should be fine. And just paying attention to detail. I told the guys, for Brian McMahon, we go from 0-0-0 to 80-0-0. We have to be perfect. There's no other team in the FCI that has to go from 0-0-0 to 80-0-0 and have to be perfect. We have to be that team. We have to let the game speak for itself. Don't get near the referees. Just let them do their work. We do our work, and we should be fine. And I believe heartily that this team's going to be fine.
And Coach, I'm glad you brought up your experiences playing as an alumni at Brian McMahon. Talk a little bit about your process to getting to this point. You had a great 4 years as a Senator. Talk a little about what your experience was like playing that soccer program.
Well, I mean, for me, I was blessed enough to play for Coach King. I mean, he's a legend in the FCI. He actually just retired last year from the board. So I mean, for me, without speaking English, I tell my kids, I say, guys, I know what you guys go through. I used to walk to McMahon. In the cold, in the rain, I had to walk. I would either take the bus or take a bicycle. So I tell them, I say, guys, I live that. I'm you. Don't think there for a reason that I'm not you. I'm you. So all you have to do is believe in what I went through. It was great 4 years. We always walked to the field knowing we were going to make the FCIs, knowing that we're going to make the state. So that's what I want to bring back to McMahon. I want to bring that confidence that, hey, you stepped on the field. All you're playing for right now is seeding. What seeding am I going to get? Am I going to get the top 8 or are we going to get, in the middle? And that's what I want to get back to McMahon to. They have to understand that they have no excuses. Just because they don't speak English, some of them, just because they come from poor backgrounds, some of them, I am them. I was that kid back then in 1980s that went through the same thing. I did not let that get me down. I ended up going to college. I ended up graduating. I ended up being a successful businessman. Now I'm here, and I want to be so bad a successful Brian McMahon high school coach because they deserve it. They deserve to be in a top program that believes in them, that is going to be there for them. That's what they need.
And two players who I think deserve to be talked about a little bit are not only your goalie, Norberto Santiago, between the pipes, but Eli Pardo, who's playing great up top for you. Describe what their playing is like so far this year. I know Norberto has made some nice saves to you between the pipes. Talk a little about what you've seen from them so far this year.
I mean, so far, Eli Pardo, he's everything everybody ever said about him. I mean, he's got 7 goals in 4 games, and again, we're playing against top teams, so he's getting the goals against the top teams. He's a leader. He's one of these kids that's very humble. I actually think he's dead, and I said to him, 9 out of 10 kids coming out of academy would never think about playing high school. This kid just came. He's doing the work. He's leading by example. He's getting these kids to learn what it is to be at a top level. All you need to do to be at a top level is just play hard, practice hard, believe in the process. There's nobody better than you. You're the only one that controls that destiny. You as a player can go out there, practice hard, and guess what? The coaches will reward you. I have great coaches that will look at any kid, whether you pick up a bag of pennies and bring it to the bus. That means a lot to us because there's a lot of kids that won't do that. They think it's just being a soccer player is just playing on the field. It takes a lot of things to be a well-rounded soccer player. So Eli has come in and led this team, just not even by the goals, just by example, by saying, guys, you guys got to work hard. And then the rest of the team, they're attaching themselves to this leadership of an academy player that's willing to sacrifice this, high-level soccer, as they say, to come to high school and say, you know what, guys, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here for the schools. I'm going to be here for the teachers, for the alumni. So that means so much to me. Be there for me as a coach. I'm blessed to have a player like this that wants to lead a team back into a top, level FCI and hopefully do something in the States if we're blessed enough to get there.
All right, Coach. Well, we really appreciate you taking time to come on. I know you have to get ready for tonight's game. We're looking forward to seeing you, and best of luck tonight, all right?
And thank you so much, and I really appreciate the Hand Network for, getting us on the phone and also giving us this game. I mean, trust me, we are going to go out there. We're going to compete hard. We're going to make every center proud. We're going to make Norwalk proud because we are a community of two teams, and we're proud and blessed to be able to do this. So thank you so much for everybody there.
Our pleasure. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Danbury head coach Anthony Howard. All that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
At the office of Dr. David Oshiro of Darien, we provide high-quality and personalized orthodontic treatment in a professional and caring environment. We make treatment fun for our young patients and believe it's never too late to have a healthy and beautiful smile. Call now for an appointment and find out more at droshiro.com.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN Network.
Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through September 30th.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman, Frank Granito, getting ready for FCIAC boys soccer tonight between the Brian McMahon Senators and the Danbury Hatters. And what better way to start it off with our good friend, head coach of the Danbury boys soccer team, Anthony Howard. Coach, how's it going? Thanks for taking time to come on with us. Coach, can you hear us? It appears like we may have lost Coach Howard there, but Frank, but we'll try and get him back. But again, tonight, I think you look at tonight's game between the Danbury Hatters and Brian McMahon Senators, you're going to see, despite their records, I think you're going to see two teams with a ton of firepower, especially up top. These guys can play. They're quick. Good keepers as well. There's going to be some good soccer. Looks like we got Coach back. Coach, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, Coach, how we doing?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, absolutely.
All
yeah.
right.
Sorry, guys.
Here we go. So, Coach, we're looking forward to being there tonight. Brian McMahon, you guys obviously getting ready to go and you're getting your team ready. 2 big wins now. You guys seem to be rolling right now. What is the key right now? What are you guys doing that is so well for the Danbury Hatters boys soccer team?
Well, as always, it's the start of the season. Everyone's kind of feeling each other out and figuring out what works for them and what's not. And we got such a new team this year that there was a lot for them to learn. A very inexperienced team, so it's taken us time. A lot of hard work on the field, just a few mental errors, I would say, early on in the season that kind of cost us some results. We've had a few bad injuries as well that has affected, but it's starting to come together. So, we needed the last 2 wins, and, the way the league's looking now, we need to push on and get a few more. I mean, it's so tight and it's so exciting, but, hopefully we can keep it going.
And tonight you guys travel to Brian McMahon. How difficult is that going to be? How do you get your team up for a game like this tonight?
Well, the night games kind of take care of themselves. There's always a better atmosphere, regardless of whether it's home or away. So as a coach, I find it much easier to get the guys up for these kind of games. I know there's going to be, a good crowd there, good support for Brian McMahon, and ultimately it becomes easy. You just got to keep the kids, nice and relaxed, ready for the game, and let the occasion take care of itself. So that shouldn't be a problem, and hopefully they're up for it.
Coach, Frank Granito here. You guys come into this game, you're right in the middle of a crowded pack in the FCIAC playoff race. You went through a little bit of a lull at the start of the year, 4 games without scoring a goal, but the offense has gotten going the past 2 games, a 5-2 win against Darien, a 2-0 win at St. Joe's on the road. What's really changed for this offense these past couple of games?
Well, we actually changed formation a little bit. I think, maybe fault of my own. I was a little bit cautious of how we were at the back. We lost our center back preseason to an ACL injury, so I had to reshuffle some things, and I spent so much time focusing on how we were going to build, our defense that I kind of lost track of how we're going to score goals. So only recently, in the last sort of 10 days or so, have we been focused about how we're going to get forward and push and obviously win some games, which is much needed. And the guys have been doing it. We're creating more opportunities now. And, in all honesty, if you came to the Staples and Ludlow game, it was always going to be a 0-0 tie. We never looked like scoring, whereas now we're going out there, we're creating opportunities, we're getting players forward and gambling a little bit more. We were a little reserved early on, so we need to win. We know we need to win. It's such a tight group this year. I think from first place down to 11th, there's maybe 5 points in it. So we know we need to win games now. Ties are just not going to be enough. So we've got to throw a bit of caution to the wind.
Well, looking ahead to tonight's matchup against Brian McMahon, from your scouting and what you've seen of the Senators, what do you think your group needs to do tonight to be able to continue this win streak and keep winning games here?
Well, we just need to eradicate the silly mistakes. As high school soccer, a mistake or two or a mental breakdown at any point can cost you. Now, I know with Brian McMahon, I know some of their players. I've seen them play this year. They got some talent. Their record so far doesn't do them justice. They've got some players that can hurt you. So we just need to make sure we stick to our game, try and limit the mistakes and take our opportunities, just like any game really. But we know that they can hurt us, and we've just got to try and stick to our game and take some opportunities.
Now, Coach, you lost 12 seniors last year to graduation. You bring back one key starter, and that's David Mullen-Thiel, who's between the pipes. What has he meant to this squad this year for the Hatters?
Well, he's been key. Just to give you some background, because we lost our centre back, and actually our other captain, Felipe Alves, who's our centre midfielder, hasn't played the last 5 games due to an injury as well. So he's really been the kind of key leader for us. Obviously, an experienced goalkeeper. He was a massive part of our success last year. And having a good goalkeeper is a game changer, at high school. So it installs a lot of trust in a young back four, and you know he's going to have to come up big for the rest of the season if we're going to have a chance of making these playoffs.
And you mentioned how wide open this FCIAC boys soccer season is from 1 to 11. What does your team have to do to stay focused and reach the FCIAC playoffs again?
Well, it's funny because I was going back and forth with Kevin O'Hara from Ludlow, and we were kind of chatting about how tight this race is, and I mean we need to get another 5-6 wins to stand a chance. So we've got to beat the teams that the top 10, 11 teams are beating. We've got to match them for their wins, and then we've got to turn over a couple of the top teams to stand a chance. In all honesty, very different from last year. Last year, obviously, Greenwich and Trumbull were the top two teams. We were kind of just in behind them, and when we were going into the playoff race, we were looking at it going, well, we want to avoid Trumbull or Greenwich early on. So we wanted that third or fourth spot. This year, it's very different. I think anyone in the top 10 can beat anybody, and the results are showing that right now. That now our focus is let's just get in there. Let's get in that top 8, and it's going to be wide open. Anyone can win it from there.
Coach, well, we thank you so much for coming. I'm looking forward to seeing you and the Hatters take on the Senators tonight. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys.
We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll wrap things up here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Manfredi New Canaan is celebrating 3 exceptional years selling Rolex watches and fine jewelry to the Fairfield County community. We appreciate all our loyal clients and look forward to welcoming and helping you discover the perfect gift to celebrate life's most important occasions. Bankwell combines the best personalized service with high-tech banking features for our customers' convenience. We pride ourselves on being a strong community partner. You don't settle for average in anything else you do. Why settle for an average bank? Don't just bank when you can bank well instead. Visit mybankwell.com for more. Bankwell?
Back on the HAN Network, a special thank you again to coaches Rodrigo Guzman and Anthony Howard of the Brian McMahon and Danbury boys soccer teams. We'll get to see them and their squads in action at 6:30 tonight. Kevin, your final thoughts now heading into tonight's game, which I think is a very important game for both sides. Obviously more important for McMahon still looking for that first win. But it's tight, 1 through 11 right now. Danbury is in that mix, and they definitely want to position themselves in a good spot.
Well, that's why I think this is going to be a tough game for Danbury, because this is a McMahon team that's very motivated coming. They're going to hosting Danbury at home, a night game, 6:30 start. I think you're going to see McMahon really try and push forward, create some scoring chances early on, because if they can get a win like this tonight, I can see this team starting to go on a hot streak. They could easily, start getting some big wins and maybe some ties, just get some points, because then they'll fall into that top 11, top 12 where they could sneak in. And this is, like Coach Howard said, their record doesn't speak justice. This is a very talented roster. They've just been handed extremely tough schedule.
It's been a very difficult first half of the schedule. They've faced a lot of the top 5, top 6 teams, which They do a good job getting a couple points out of it, so they're not held blank there. But now when you're into games that you're almost, it's a push on paper, it could go either way. This is where the Senators, especially at home, have got to find a way to take care of business. If there's one player on the roster tonight who plays a huge X factor in that, who do you think it would be?
It's someone we talked about with Coach Guzman. It's Eli Pardo. And the junior has, like you mentioned, 7 goals in 4 games. The guy's on a roll right now. And I think right now McMahon catches Danbury at the right time because Danbury, like Coach Howard mentioned, a little hurt right now. They have some guys off the bench. Their back four is struggling. So what a perfect time for Eli Pardo to have himself a night. I expect to see him do some good things there on the pitch tonight.
Quickly want to take a second, go through the scoreboard of the FCIAC from last night. Again, we apologize, some technical issues keeping us from going to Bridgeport Central to cover their game against the Norwalk Bears in girls soccer. The Bears came away winners in that one. Madison Suda scored twice for Norwalk. Kelly Halloran and Julia Sferlaza also adding goals. Sabrina Bayon with 4 saves in their 4-1 victory. Staples 4 to Greenwich's 1 a little rivalry match. Marlo Vanderaye and Reese Sutter both scoring twice for the Wreckers. Trumbull blanked New Canaan 1-0. Darien shut out Stanford 8-0, and West Hill rolled over Cross City rival Trinity Catholic 4-1. St. Joe's 6 and Danbury 1 as well in girls soccer. Field hockey scores: Staples 7, Trumbull 1, Wilton 4 to Ward 0. Brian McMahon 0 behind Norwalk's 8, and Stanford 3 to St. Joe's 1. We are back this afternoon at 6:30. Boys soccer on the HAN network. Brian McMahon hosting the Danbury Hatters, our first boys soccer match of the fall season. I will let Kevin take us out for Kick It with Kevin Wednesday.
Ooh, well, it's going to be a fun night, guys. Looking forward to being at Brian McMahon. Boys soccer finally on the dock. It's going to be a lot of fun. Some great guys, some great talent on the pitch tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tune in at 6:30. That's going to do it for Nutmeg Sports today. Frank Granito. I'm Kevin Coleman. He's got the Snapchat. Follow us on Snap, hn.network. We'll see you guys later tonight.